You can.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shukran one and all for joining us on this event. It's one of the first seminars or webcasts that we are having for the series of the Leadership in Focus with the Minara Chamber of Commerce. One of the larger achievements that we have recently seen in our community was one of our students by the name of Husnaa Haffejee. She was placed first in the national matric examination. She tied with an individual by the name of Grace Kelly Prose from the Rustenburg Girls College in the Western Cape. And Husna comes through from the Al Falah College here in Durban. So, Alhamdulillah, I think it's a fantastic achievement and it's something really to marvel at. And with that, just some statistics which we have seen. Of for the matric examination, there were 752,000 full-time students that have written, and there were 168,000 part-time students, giving you a total of 920,000 students. And it gives us great pleasure to say that Alhamdulillah, Husna has been ranked right at the top. So with that, I think it's a wonderful achievement, and it's a nice opportunity to discuss with her what were her winning recipes, what did she do so that other students who inshallah have the same dreams can emulate in the footsteps of Husna. Husna, over to you. How does it feel to have achieved this fate?
Alhamdulillah, it's a really unbelievable thing. Um, it's been extremely um, overwhelming, and especially since as you said, there's so many students who wrote the exams, and to know that, alhamdulillah, I was able to come out on top of all of them, that was something that is really, I think, unfathomable to me. I don't think I can really understand the extent of what that means. But alhamdulillah, of course, I'm very happy and proud of myself that all of the work and all of the effort that I put in throughout the matric year and all of that consistent late nights and the studying that I put in, it all paid off. Alhamdulillah, I'm very grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that.
MashaAllah. And so you mentioned a lot of the late nights and studies. So what was a typical day like for you? I'm sure this sort of study techniques would have started way before. So leading on to grade 11 and then on to matric. So what was your typical day like? Getting up right through to bed.
For me, the important thing has always been consistency. So even in grade 10 and 11, I always put the effort in for my work and for my examinations, so that I had actually laid the foundation for matric from then. And during matric, during the first half of the year, um, I made sure to have a really good balance. So between studying as many hours as I could in a day, without pushing myself too far and burning myself out. And then also that relaxation and the family time to make sure that I was also getting the time to unwind. And then in the second half of the year, there obviously had to be a lot more work put in, and I had to end up dedicating more time to work and studying than I was to recreation. But even then, I still made sure that I always had that time at the end of a night of studying to relax and to let my brain wind down. So there were the days that we had school, and so when I'd come home from school, to take a break and eat something, do homework or whatever I needed to do for school, and like I said, just study as many hours as I could. But on days when we didn't have school, so during the study break before finals, I would wake up early, maybe 8 o'clock, have breakfast, and then break the day up into chunks. So study in the morning and then take a break for salah and for lunch and then continue. So it was a study day that started in the morning and ended in the night, and there was a lot of structure. So I think that's how I managed to plan everything and make sure that I was getting everything done.
Mm. I see. So it's a full-on study-packed day, basically. And did you manage to get, these days a lot of people talk about the balanced lifestyle, right? So do you think that is even possible in Matric? They say you should give a part of your day for exercise. You should give a part of your day for studies. You should give a part of your day for recreation and relaxation. Do you think that was even possible to even do that, or given that the goal that was ahead of you, there was perhaps no room for that sort of stuff? There was no room for exercise. It was more purely focusing on your study.
I think it is possible, and also it's extremely important. And like I said, in the second half of the year, there was a lot more time that I was putting into studying and working past papers and revision and all of that. But there always had to be that time during which I would spend time with my family, or, just sit down with a cup of tea and read something, even if it was just a little while, like maybe 1 hour during a day. I think it's really important to have that time to yourself, because if you don't do that, then you burn yourself out and you get too tired and too exhausted. Um, and you are not able to do your best in the time that you are studying. And then besides that, if you don't give yourself enough time to relax, then you also start to resent the work that you are doing. And if you are super resentful and hateful towards the studying, then you're not putting your best foot forward. So I think that it's really important to manage to create that balance in your life.
Fantastic. And also when it came to any additional, normally you'd get the normal curriculum that you get from school. Was there a need to get additional literature in the form of past papers? And, what were those sort of sources, just so that the students that are trying to follow in your footsteps know where to find these things? Additional past papers? Was there extra tuition that was required? Did you find a need for that sort of thing?
Um, Past papers are definitely the most important thing in Matric. And there's a wide variety of websites that you can get them online. The Department of Education website, they have all the papers from the past, I think since 2012 or so, somewhere around there. And so they have the November papers, and they also have the trial papers and the supplementary papers that are written in May, June. And then besides that, there's a lot of other websites that you can get them from. And past papers are just extremely important because they give you exposure to the different types of questioning. So there's the common questions that are always asked and always come out. And when you do those, you are able to see how much you know and basically test your knowledge and your understanding of what you have studied. And then there's also the more difficult questions, and the hard questions are never repeated, so they're different every single year. So the only thing that you can do to prepare for those is to just do as many as you can and note down the methods and the patterns. And if you get practice in that way, then it helps you to break down the difficult question that you will see in your own paper. So I definitely sat and did a lot of past papers. So what I had done was trials. When we write trials, it's the content for the whole year. So I made sure that all of my studying for the content was completed properly before trials, so that after trials, when I was preparing for finals, I was just doing revision and just past papers to practice work that I had already completed properly for trials. So yes, I think past papers are definitely extremely important.
For sure. Good. And so what subjects did you choose, Husna? Because I know you got to choose certain subjects. I think it's at grade 10 or so. So what subjects did you choose? And of those subjects, which was your favorite subject?
So the compulsory subjects are um, mathematics or mathematical literacy. So I did mathematics. And then there's your home language. So for me, it was English. and first additional language, Afrikaans, and then also life orientation. And then the elective subjects that I had chosen were physical sciences, accounting, and life sciences or biology. From there, I would have to say that my favorite subject is mathematics, because I really like the systematic and the logical style, of questioning, where as long as you know the method, to doing a certain thing, you can get from A to Z, from the question to the answer. So I really enjoyed the logical process in maths, and that's what made me like it.
Okay, perfect. So with that being said, what's the career paths for Husna? What do you where what are you going to go and study, and at which university?
So I'm doing medicine, alhamdulillah, at here in Durban in University of KwaZulu-Natal, UKZN. And we actually start campus on Monday, next week, Monday, inshallah. And my plan, inshallah, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it possible, or if it's in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's plan, is to go into research afterwards and specialize into research, inshallah, into sort of infectious diseases and life-threatening diseases, because I've always, from a young age, wanted to contribute to, curing one of those life-threatening diseases that affect so many people's lives. Um, Especially, well, having lived through the COVID pandemic, I saw firsthand how COVID affected people's lives and how many people were losing their loved ones, and the disruption that was caused to our lives in that we weren't able to move around freely and couldn't go to the workplace and couldn't go to school. So it really caused a lot of devastation for people. And I think that although I had wanted to go into research from a young age, that is something that reiterated to me the dream that I had, and it inspired me to want to become someone who could solve those problems for people, inshallah. And I really think that in doing that and in making a difference to the world, it'll be something that's very rewarding, both in terms of the reward that I receive from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also in finding that sense of fulfillment and gratification in life, inshallah.
And just to touch on something, you mentioned about the COVID pandemic, right? So I'm sure that that affected you guys whilst you were in, I think it was grade 10, or 11 or so, when you had to shift to online schooling. Was that a big shift? Did that affect you guys in any big way, or was your strategy still the same and you were just going at it?
It was extremely difficult to adjust to. So basically, the pandemic, it started when we were in grade 10, which is the first major foundation year of high school. And we had to switch to online schooling in that crucial, important year. And I think what it did was affected a lot of people's motivation and dedication, because, being stuck at home, um, in your bedroom in pajamas, it's a lot more difficult to concentrate and to be productive than it is when you're at school under the watchful eye of your teachers and being supervised. So I think that that affected a lot of people, in that people weren't attending classes or weren't paying attention when they did attend classes, and were feeling very demotivated and uninspired to do work. But I think during that time, what was important for me was to just stay, like you said, to stay consistent, and to make sure that every morning I was getting up and getting ready, and uh, taking all my classes from a desk and making sure I wasn't doing lessons from my bed, so that I was creating that kind of environment for myself where I would concentrate and I would still get my work done and stay on top of homework and assignments like I would if I was at school. And in that way, I made sure that I didn't miss out on that really crucial, important foundation year. And so I think that that was really important during that time, to continue working hard even though I was at home and adjusting to online learning.
Interesting. No, very good. And I think you guys all, you guys did very well when it comes to adjusting to that. And just something I noticed, like for instance, you've gone onto the field of medicine, right? But your subjects which you had chosen excluded biology. So was medicine always your first route that you wanted to go, or was medicine just, it came through? Was What were your three? Because normally you got to choose three career paths, if my memory serves correct. Did you also come across to this crossroads?
I did choose biology. Biology is the same as life sciences. Uh,
That's what
but
you call it now. Okay.
young, I think there's a time in every high school student's life where they're very confused about what direction they want to go in. And I was no different, because, like I said, I really enjoy maths. So I was considering maybe going into something like actuarial sciences, or also something else that involves a lot of maths and also chemistry, which I like, is chemical engineering. So there were a lot of um, options that I had. And it wasn't until halfway through my matricular that I finally made the decision that I wanted to definitely go into medicine. Um, because of the factors that I had mentioned before about wanting to help people, inshallah, and all of those things. But like I said, every matric student, I think, is in this place where they don't really know what they want to do. And for
Yeah.
me, it wasn't any different, but I did, alhamdulillah, end up coming to a final decision that I'm happy with, and I'm really excited to enter into this path. Although it's a long road to finishing medicine, there's the 6 years, and then 2 years internship, and then community service, and then specialization is only after that. So it's definitely a very, very long and difficult road ahead. But inshallah, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help, I hope that it'll be okay, inshallah.
No, inshallah. Look, I think you've done fantastically well. And I think that to push through the sort of achievement that you've done, you've got a good head upon your shoulders. And I think, alhamdulillah, you've got to thank your parents a lot as well for pushing you through that. And I think a lot of it stems from them. And just keep that same vigor and keep that same sort of enthusiasm, because that is where leaders actually are born. Where you got a good foundation now, you got to continuously build upon that foundation. So alhamdulillah, I think we're all very proud of you for your achievements, and we're very proud of all the matriculants that have written the exam, and whether they passed or failed. I think people just got to know that it's not the be all and end all. It's everybody has done extremely well in it. And but Husna, hats off to you, and may Allah grow you from strength to strength. And we're looking forward to seeing what the future brings forward for Husnaa Haffejee. And who knows, maybe you could be one of the leading medical researchers in the world.
Inshallah. I mean, Jazakallah so much for having me and for your time.
No, you're more than welcome. Shukran. Okay, and this is we're gonna be ending off because Maghrib would be soon. So we're gonna be ending off our segment, and we'd like to thank everybody for joining in. Um, I think we look forward to meeting more leaders such as Husna, and inshallah growing the community and seeing everybody grow from strength to strength to strength. This is Isa Hassan from the Minara Chamber of Commerce. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.